Welcome to your daily 49ers update. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. Here is what's happening. The Niners face a must-win game against the Seahawks on Sunday, and they, of course, are happy to have Christian McCaffrey back in the fold. Just how happy? Well, take a listen to Kyle Shanahan on KNBR describing the impact of McCaffrey in the passing game.
Brock and I joke, but it's almost like getting your blankie back because no matter what happens on a play, as a play caller, I always feel like, well, if it's not there, you got him at the end of the play, just underneath, and you can go to him. And Brock, no matter where he's looking, trying to go down the field, trying to go somewhere, and a pass rush comes, you always can move to the left and find your little outlet that's sitting right there. When that outlet's Christian McCaffrey, it makes everybody a lot more comfortable, and it makes things a lot easier.
Christian McCaffrey had 6 catches for 68 yards last week against the Bucs. I expect more of that against the Seahawks on Sunday. Brock Purdy, of course, beat Seattle earlier this year without Christian McCaffrey and has, in fact, never lost to the Seahawks, something he was talking about yesterday.
It's never easy. I'll tell you that. It's not. I think we've had some success going against them, but it's always been a dogfight, and it's never just been given to us or anything. So, and we know that. We feel like that's the case with our whole division, especially this year. So, great team, and there's never a moment where we walk into this game going, it's going to be given to us or anything. Like we know the history of the 49ers and the Seahawks, and you have to have the right mindset going into this game, or else you can get exposed.
If Purdy is going to make it 6 straight wins against a division rival, he may have to do it without some big names. Let's take a look at yesterday's practice report. For the second straight day, Nick Bosa did not participate due to his hip injury. That is not a good sign. Bosa himself said he's not really sure if he's going to be able to go. Trent Williams did not participate for the second straight day. He's got an ankle injury. Same goes for Mitch Wishnowski's back, Moody Ward personal, and Kevin Givens groin. On the plus side, George Kittle was upgraded. He actually did participate in a limited fashion, so that is obviously a good sign. Christian McCaffrey, Achilles, John Feliciano knee, and Chris Conley hamstring were all limited as well. Unfortunately for the Niners, Jauan Jennings injured his ankle in practice. We don't know the extent of the injury just yet, but he was technically having to be listed as limited. Now the Niners could have to win this game without their best offensive lineman, without their best defensive lineman, and without their best wide receiver. That's trouble for a game that you absolutely have to have if you're the Niners. We'll see how it all shakes out on Sunday. One more for you before we go from Kyle Shanahan in that interview on KNBR. Kyle, Jake Moody had, let's just call it a hell of a week. Where's he at mentally?
It sounds silly, but the way it went, it's almost like the perfect type of game for him. Because I mean, when you have the talent and stuff in this league, it becomes the mental part, especially as a kicker. You really have to get used to operating with that pressure on you, and you got to be able to operate when things aren't going well. And for Jake to have this last month off, I think he got a couple field goals, not too tough ones, and then he missed 3, and everything seems like it's Armageddon, and everything's falling apart. But don't get too high or too low, because you got to do your job and go out there and finish it right here. And for him to kick that and overcome all that adversity and go through all that in one game, it should give him some confidence. I mean, he kicked the ball great all practice week. He's kicking it great right now. But you got to adjust to win. You got to adjust to the anxiety when you do mess up, and you got to come through. And that's what he ended up doing for us.
God help that man if he has to kick a game-winning field goal on Sunday. We always give you one thing to read, one thing to watch, and one thing you might have missed. One thing to read on this Friday. The details of the Deommodore Lenoir contract are out. And let's just say it's even better for the 49ers than we thought when the initial news broke. If you want all the news, ProFootballTalk.com has the details. I dropped the link in the description of this episode. One thing to watch, if you're still fascinated by the Deebo Samuel Tabor Pepper breakdown, John Boyd did an actual in-depth video about it with the lip reading and everything. It's what he does. They are fantastic. It's not very long. Definitely go and check it out. Again, I'll put the link in the description of this episode. One thing you may have missed. Remember earlier this year when George Kittle had to do his media session wearing an Iowa State helmet because he lost a bet? Well, yesterday, he did his media session in a UCLA helmet. Apparently, he had a bet with Jake Brendel and an equipment staffer that Iowa would beat the Bruins, and we all can see how that turned out. George, just a piece of advice. I don't know, maybe find a new team to bet on. Clearly, Hawkeyes aren't working for you this year. That's a wrap on today's 49ers in 5. Please rate, review, and follow the Gold Standard Podcast Network wherever you get your audio podcasts. Like and subscribe to the Gold Standard 49ers YouTube channel as well. Click the bell so you get notified when we're live, which is every single weekday after every single Niners game, and of course, after any breaking news for you. Enjoy your Friday, everybody. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. We'll talk later today.